Inflation isn't just making things more expensive, it's silently stealing your purchasing power while you sleep, work, and save. Every dollar you earned last year buys less this year. Every dollar you're saving for the future will buy even less when you need it. And the cruelest part? The system is designed this way. It's not a bug, it's a feature. And if you're watching your carefully saved money lose value year after year while being told you should just save more, you're experiencing legalized theft disguised as economic policy. Here's what nobody explains clearly. Inflation is a hidden tax that punishes savers and rewards borrowers. It's a wealth transfer mechanism that moves money from those who save cash to those who own assets. And if you don't understand how this works, you'll spend your entire life working hard, saving diligently, and still ending up poorer because the value of your money is being systematically destroyed faster than you can accumulate it. I've been a financial consultant for 15 years and run multiple businesses for 8 years, managing hundreds of employees. And I can tell you with absolute certainty, understanding inflation is the difference between building wealth and watching your purchasing power evaporate. Most people think they're being financially responsible by saving money in a bank account. They're actually volunteering to get poorer every single year while feeling virtuous about it. Let me show you exactly how this theft works. Inflation averaged 3% annually over the last 30 years. Sounds small, right? But compound that over time, and it's devastating. If you saved $100,000 in cash 30 years ago and did nothing with it, that money buys the equivalent of about $41,000 today. You didn't spend a dollar, but you lost $59,000 in purchasing power. That's not preservation, that's destruction in slow motion. I worked with a couple in Montreal who were incredibly disciplined savers. They had $80,000 in a savings account earning 1% interest. They felt secure, they had savings. But inflation was running at 3.5%. Every year, they were losing 2.5% in real purchasing power despite growing their savings. Over 10 years, they effectively lost $20,000 in buying power while thinking they were being financially responsible. The bank was paying them 1% to borrow their money and loaning it out at 7% while inflation eroded what they had. Wealth rarely comes from noise or shortcuts. If you're ready to learn what most overlook, subscribe and walk a smarter path forward. Here's why inflation exists and why it's accelerating. Governments and central banks create inflation deliberately because it reduces the real value of government debt, encourages spending over saving, and transfers wealth from creditors to debtors. When you have a mortgage and inflation runs high, you're paying back your loan with dollars worth less than the dollars you borrowed. That's great for you, but if you're a saver holding cash, you're the one getting destroyed. The system rewards debt and punishes savings. Think about that. The responsible behavior, saving money, living below your means, being financially conservative, gets penalized through inflation. The risky behavior, borrowing money, leveraging debt, spending aggressively, gets rewarded as inflation reduces the real cost of that debt. The incentive structure is completely backwards from what you've been taught. Let me give you the real-world impact. In 1970, the median home price in the United States was $23,000. Today, it's over $400,000. Your grandparents could buy a house for $23,000. You need $400,000 for the same house. But it's not that the house got better, it's that your money got worse. The house is the same. The dollars are worth less, way less. Here's another painful example. In 1980, average college tuition was about $1,300 a year. Today, it's over $30,000. Did education get 23 times better? No. Your dollars got 23 times weaker. But wages didn't increase proportionally. So you're earning roughly the same inflation-adjusted income, but paying exponentially more for the same things. That's not opportunity. That's a trap. Now, I run multiple businesses. I manage hundreds of employees. And creating content like this, researching monetary policy, explaining complex economic mechanisms, producing videos that help people understand how their purchasing power is being systematically destroyed, requires substantial investment. We do this because most people are losing wealth through inflation without understanding why or how to protect themselves. If you're serious about preserving purchasing power instead of watching it evaporate, subscribe to this channel. It helps us continue this mission, and it tells me you're someone who wants to understand the game instead of just complaining about losing. I respond to subscribers first because you're actively seeking solutions. Here's what makes current inflation particularly dangerous. It's accelerating. Official numbers say 3 to 4%, but if you calculate it the way it was calculated in 1980, real inflation is closer to 8 to 10% annually. Housing, food, energy, healthcare, education, the things you actually need, are increasing far faster than the reported inflation rate. The government changed how they measure inflation to make the numbers look better, but your grocery bill knows the truth. I gave a lecture in San Francisco about inflation's wealth destruction, and someone asked why the government allows this. I said, allows it? They cause it. Inflation benefits the government by reducing the real value of their debt and forces people to spend rather than save, which boosts GDP numbers. Your destroyed purchasing power is a feature, not a bug. So how do you protect yourself? First, understand that cash is trash. Not for emergency funds, you need liquidity. But for wealth preservation, holding cash long-term is financial suicide. You're giving away purchasing power every single year. Second, invest in assets that appreciate faster than inflation. Real estate historically outpaces inflation. Stocks average returns above inflation. Commodities, precious metals, businesses, these are inflation hedges. The wealthy don't hold cash. They hold assets that increase in value as inflation devalues currency. That's how they get richer during inflation while savers get poorer. I know someone in Austin who bought rental properties 15 years ago when inflation was relatively low. His mortgage payments stayed fixed while rents increased with inflation. His tenants are paying him with inflated dollars while he's paying the bank with the same dollars he borrowed. His real estate appreciated. His rental income increased. His debt effectively decreased in real terms. He became a millionaire largely because he understood inflation and used it to his advantage instead of becoming its victim. Third, consider that some debt is actually smart during inflation. If you borrow money at 3% interest and inflation runs at 5%, you're effectively being paid 2% to borrow money. The dollars you pay back are worth less than the dollars you borrowed. This is why the wealthy leverage debt strategically. They understand that inflation makes their loans cheaper over time. Fourth, increase your income faster than inflation. If your raises aren't beating inflation by a substantial margin, you're taking a pay cut every year while working the same hours. If inflation is 5% and you get a 3% raise, you just got a 2% pay cut. Most people don't realize this. They see the number go up and think they're advancing when they're actually falling behind. Here's the brutal comparison. Person A saves $10,000 a year in a savings account earning 1%. Inflation runs at 3%. After 20 years, they have about $222,000 saved. But adjusted for inflation, it's worth only about $148,000 in today's dollars. They saved diligently for 2 decades and lost $74,000 in purchasing power. Person B invests the same $10,000 a year in assets returning 8% annually. After 20 years, they have approximately $497,000. Adjusted for inflation, it's worth about $332,000 in today's dollars. Same discipline, completely different outcome. One person got destroyed by inflation, the other beat it and built real wealth. I worked with a teacher in Vancouver who had been saving in a bank account for 30 years. Very disciplined, had accumulated $90,000. She felt proud, until we calculated what that $90,000 could actually buy compared to when she started saving. She broke down crying when she realized that her 3 decades of sacrifice had been partially stolen by inflation. She'd saved correctly, according to what she was taught, but she was taught wrong. Here's what you need to understand about the current situation. We're in a period of sustained higher inflation. Your savings are being destroyed faster than at any point in the last 40 years. The official numbers understate the real impact. And the traditional advice, save your money in the bank, be conservative, avoid risk, is guaranteed to make you poorer. The wealthy are positioning themselves right now. They're borrowing cheap money, they're buying assets, they're investing in things that appreciate faster than inflation. They understand that inflation is a wealth transfer from those who hold cash to those who hold assets, and they're making sure they're on the winning side of that transfer. Meanwhile, most people are doing exactly what they've been taught. Saving diligently in accounts earning nothing, watching their purchasing power evaporate, and wondering why financial security feels impossible despite doing everything right. The answer is simple but painful. You're playing by rules designed to make you lose. Saving cash during inflation is like running on a treadmill that's speeding up. You're working harder and harder just to stay in the same place, and eventually you'll get thrown off. I want to hear from you. Have you noticed your money buying less? What costs have increased most in your life? Are you taking any steps to protect your purchasing power, or are you just saving and hoping? Drop honest answers in the comments. And tell me where you're watching from. Remember, inflation is stealing from you every single day. You can either understand how it works and position yourself accordingly, or you can keep being the victim. Your choice.